Hello fellow photographers and welcome. Your photography is stagnating, you feel your photos aren't improving and it's frustrating. We've all been there. But not to worry because I'm here to help you out. We all make mistakes in our photography. However, there are certain mistakes I see photographers making time and time again that truly impact the quality of their photos. I'm out in the field with many photographers for long periods, teaching them what to do, but more often, what not to do. And over the years, I've noticed the same mistakes being made across the board. Today, I'll be talking about 5 of the most common mistakes I see. And it's much more than just the technical ones. You'll probably find yourself nodding along to at least a few of these points, and I hope it inspires you to get out there and better your photography. I'm Danielle, I'm a pro wildlife photographer in Africa, from Africa, and I lead photo safaris that turn travelers into better photographers while they are having the time of their lives on safari. Let's go. Before I dive into my list of 5, just know that this list is by no means exhaustive. I could have added 20 more points, but please let me know in the comments if you find the video helpful and if you think I should make another one. First up, and for those of you who've been on safari with me, you'll know exactly what I'm about to say. Light. Light is everything. By far, the most common mistake I see photographers making is disregarding the light. Often it's because they're overwhelmed by the subject, which I understand. A leopard is truly impressive. But here in Africa, we're fortunate to have an abundance of impressive wildlife. Becoming hyper-focused on a species and ignoring the light is one of the quickest ways to end up with a poor photo. Very rarely do you get a great image in harsh light. Don't lift your camera once the soft light has disappeared. Sure, there are rare exceptions, maybe 0.5% of the time. For example, when you have harsh light in contrast with shadows, you can do something creative with it. But remember that the conditions for this are very specific. Remember, we're not aiming to take field guide photos to ID an animal. We're aiming for incredible, memorable, unique images. I used to think golden light was the only light worth waiting for. Wrong. Blue hour light, diffused light on cloudy days, even solid shade, all have incredible potential. But harsh light? Don't do it. The longer you sit with a sleeping lion in dappled light, the more you take away from time spent with truly photogenic subjects, and there are many out here. Don't favor species over light. Favor the light. The next mistake I see all too often is photographers not using the zoom they already have in camera if they're using a zoom lens. Now, I'm the first person to tell you to take the animal in its environment shot, giving a sense of place and telling a story. The truth is, those opportunities are quite rare. More often, we need to simplify and exclude distractions. Simplification being key to great imagery. But people often forget to zoom in and then they rely heavily on cropping later. Cropping is not the same as zooming in with your lens. Cropping throws pixels away and then enlarges what's left, which decreases image quality depending obviously on how much you crop. Zooming in captures more detail from the start, keeping your photos sharp. It's a no-brainer. Zoom into the composition you want or as close as possible and crop as little as you can in editing. Your image quality will improve dramatically. As you can tell, I'm really passionate about all of this. If you also love photography, conservation and travel, please subscribe to the channel to join our C4 circle. Now we get to one that's probably a little controversial. Relying solely on tracking or subject detection. So many photos are missed because of this. Tracking is an amazing tool, but it's not perfect. Having tracking as your only focusing option is a recipe for disaster. You need quick access to a focus point you can control fully. I limit my tracking or my subject detection area to a small part of the frame to make things easier for the camera, but even then, I always have another back button that gives me instant access to a single static focus point. In fast-paced sightings, this is crucial. Before you know it, the leopard walks behind a shrub and your subject detection jumps onto the shrub instead of staying on the leopard. Whereas with a single focus point, you could have framed it beautifully between the foliage. Even when you adjust tracking sensitivity, speed, and so on, it still gets it wrong far too often. Maybe this will improve in future, but for now, always have a good old single focus point available. Next is one I'm extremely passionate about and one of the hardest habits to teach my guests. Observe behavior first, obviously if there's time. Get a feel for repetitive behavior. Is the bird flying off in the same direction each time before returning with an insect? The jackal trots inconspicuously around the waterhole a few times until the doves get used to it, and then it strikes every fourth or fifth time. So let's get ready for that. Once the bull elephant breaks off a branch full of pods, he doesn't reach up to individual pods for a good 15 minutes, and that's the shot I want. So let's rather move on while the light is still good. The baboons climb this tree every morning at 6:15. Let's be here tomorrow with perfect backlight. This actually happened on a recent safari. The bee eaters take off all at once from their nests every time that yellow-billed kite comes within 30 meters. If I want them low before they up against the sky, let's keep an eye on the kite. This is where the value of a photo guide comes in, someone who knows the region and understands the species. It's in the observation and anticipation of behavior that the challenge, reward, and ultimate joy of wildlife photography lies for me. And in those moments, you notice so much more. You smell, you hear, you truly step into their world. That's what it's all about. Not the rush here, rush there, tick the boxes safari. You may as well photograph your TV while you're watching a wildlife documentary at home. That's definitely not what safari is or should be. Lastly, I'll end off with a technical one. Choosing an inappropriate shutter speed. Whether you're in aperture priority, shutter priority, or manual, you need to be deliberate with your shutter speed. Why? To get the results you want while sacrificing as little as possible elsewhere, like ISO or sharpness. I often see photographers accidentally bump their shutter speed and not realize it, or forget to adjust it after a sighting, usually when it's too late. So they end up shooting a browsing giraffe at 1/4,000th of a second, or a running wild dog at 1/100th of a second. How do you know the appropriate shutter speed? Experience, trial and error, and guidance from a photo guide. Get into the habit of asking yourself, what's the maximum shutter speed I need for this subject? Do I have enough light? Your ISO and exposure will tell you. For a stationary waterbuck, 1/400th of a second is perfectly fine if you're steady and stabilized. For a bee eater taking off, 4,000 to 5,000th of a second if you want sharp wingtips. The bottom line, don't set your shutter unnecessarily high, it forces your ISO up, which means grain and softness. And don't set it too low if you want to freeze fast movement. Learn what's appropriate for the subject. In summary, always put light first. Zoom in camera rather than cropping later. Don't rely entirely on tracking or subject detection. Take time to observe behavior before shooting, and practice choosing the correct shutter speed for each subject. Please let me know in the comments if you can relate to any of these mistakes. And that's it for now, folks. Until next time, bye-bye.